Okay.
Okay.
Let me just hold up there. My mouse isn't moving. Okay, Juggernaut, you still there? By the way, Juggernaut's mic doesn't work, so he will be typing.
Sounds good. Oh, shoot. Oh, fuck.
All we gotta do is make sure that... Okay, Juggernaut, you typed in the wrong chat, but other than that, good job. Gold, you ready?
Yes, I am ready.
Alright, so... Juggernaut has already gone through a match this round. And so because that, he already kind of understands how things works. Gold, by the way, you might want to get your random number generator ready in advance.
Okay.
Oh, shoot. Can you still hear me?
So yeah, I can still hear you.
All right, cool.
Actually, wait, hold up. Gold, keep them entertained for 2 seconds.
Entertained? How am I supposed to do that?
So we need a roll device.
My 2 seconds are up?
No.
Oh,
The random number generator is just the judge's roll.
Oh, okay. So I don't need to roll anything.
No, you're
No,
good.
you don't.
Okay. So I was like, I actually have an app that I couldn't really find a good one, so I ended up finding this random fantasy app that like physically rolls dice for you. So like that'll.
Most people use the Google random number generator that shows up like whenever you first just type in random number generator. Although I have found out after dealing so many powers, that number generator actually prefers certain numbers. I get way more of a certain type than I do any others. There's still huge amounts of powers I haven't given out.
Nice. What should roll higher numbers?
Oh, higher numbers don't mean anything.
Oh, really?
No.
Dang.
In some cases, higher numbers are actually bad.
Oh, shoot.
It's merely just order. If you got 87, then you got the one that I just happened to put 87th.
Oh, that actually makes a lot more sense.
Mm-hmm. So, with both of you here, Juggernaut, go ahead and I'm gonna still explain it if that's all right with you, because I know you already know how to do the tournament, but Dijin has not fought yet, so I'm gonna explain it. You good with that, Jug? I see. I see the typing thing. All right, so Dijin, do you actually know how the tournament goes or not?
I'm not actually sure. Like, I have read some of the rules, but I'm not sure like how the fighting's going down.
All right, so here's a little brief explanation of how it's going to go down. Pretty much, you and Juggernaut are going to be put up against a random game mode. This could be like capture the flag, hide and seek, what all that be.
Okay.
And whoever does best in that mode gets 2 points. It's simple as that.
Yeah.
You can do all sorts of things with your opponent, fighting all blah 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 blah. And if you lose the game mode, let's say he beats you at capture the flag, you can challenge him to a fight afterwards. If you win the fight, he gets 0 points and you get 1.
All right.
However, it's a risk. If you challenge him to a fight and lose, you still get 0 points, but he gets 3.
Oof.
So far, hey Gold, I don't think anyone's challenged anyone to a combat fight yet, right?
I don't think so. Like everyone's been like very
Cautious.
yeah, cautious.
By the way, my internet is very terrible, so I'm going to be cutting in and out a lot.
All right.
Alright, and so right now, me and Gold are going to determine the... Hold up. Me and Gold are going to determine the game mode. So before we roll, I would like to say I am recording this so that way I can put it out there so other people can see all the different things, if that's alright with you.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Alrighty then. So then, before we actually roll the mode, I would like you guys to explain yourself. As I said before the fights, you guys can lie to each other and be like, "Oh yeah, I control ice. It's really scary." And then the moment you get in, "Yeah, I can move plants." You guys could lie to each other and mess around all beforehand, but now comes the time for explanation. Juggernaut, go ahead and type out your power to say what you are. Dijin, while he's typing, you say what your power is. No, I'm saying like Dijin, explain your power.
I don't know why. I don't know why I'm typing. Sorry.
Oh no, you don't need to
Um,
type. You don't need to type. Like you say it and explain.
yeah, I know. I mean, it's kind of simple. It's in the name. I just make things explode.
But like the full detail.
I cause explosions. I mean, is there much more detail to go into that?
Little bit. Yeah, it's
For,
the. Oh, sorry. Go on, Gold.
I was gonna say, like, for example, like, I can have an explosion power, but like I could explode myself. I can make objects, like enchant them or something, and then they explode. I can just create explosions in multiple areas.
I'm pretty
Like
sure I'm explosions. Could be wrong.
So, I
With
Jug.
how
Sorry to interrupt you, but Jug just typed out his power. He says, "I'm essentially Go-Go Gadget Extendo. I can elongate limbs at the end and turn them. I can elongate limbs and at the end of them turn them into a shield shape at the end. So imagine Inspector Gadget kind of like Go-Go Extend. His hand extends as far as he wants. They
like
do like who?
Mr. Elastic,
But
Plastic Man.
although he is still bound by the rules of joints and bones.
Ooh,
He's not rubber. It is straight up Go-Go Gadget. However, at the end, whatever limb he extends turns into a shield at the very end. So if he
Ooh.
extends his hand will form up into a shield of relatively good size. Let's say it could get from about a person's to maybe half a person's size, and it has increased defense.
All right.
Okay, Dijin. So this is why like the details of your power is important. Someone in a previous fight was completely countered by one specific of their move. Which, Gold, if you remember that, I told you about that. That was that was Agilaire's fight.
I remember the details of my power. I thought we were just like not really sharing it so the other person wouldn't know.
Oh no,
Like,
we have to fully explain it here.
But what's the thing about the lying? Like,
Before the match and like while the match is being set up, and like in the days when you're not in a tournament, you guys can talk to each other, and if someone ever asks about your power, you can lie.
so here we have to be fully honest.
Fully honest, 100% the truth and everything.
Oh, okay. So, all right, let me tell you my powers then.
Yep.
Actually. All right, so I was confused about that. My bad.
My bad, sorry.
So, I have full mental control, no soul powers, no, like, soul, mental, or any attacks work on me whatsoever. That would include necromancy, mind control, anything like that, have no effect on me. Also, my explosions are mental based, but also do physical damage at the same time. It's a living explosion that works with me, that I use in unison with my body, and I use it, and I send it forth, and it has a mind of its own, but I've worked with it, so it basically, I tell it where to go rather than it control it and tell it, make it go anywhere.
Alright, nice explanation. I'll clarify a few of the details on that. So, Jug, pretty much, yeah, he explained everything alright. His explosion power is like the Hulk, keeping that in mind. He can shoot it to explode, but if it doesn't want to, it's not gonna hit it. It can turn and curve wherever the heck it wants. So he kind of has to work together with it. He did say he is immune to all of those powers, but I think that's not really a problem to you, Jug.
Also,
And
would I be immune to my own explosions since that's mental based?
you're no wizard. No. If you end up hitting yourself with your own explosion, that's gonna hurt.
Okay, cool. Because I was curious about that because you were saying I was immune to mental attacks, and that was my explosions were a mental attack.
Funny enough, I don't think I mentioned mental. I said like necromancy and things because you're immune to soul moves, not mind moves.
Let me reread that.
Yeah, I'm also going back just to double check. And also Juggernaut, his
Oh,
explosions.
spirit. Okay, I misread that. My bad.
It's all right.
Spirit power. Okay.
And Juggernaut, his explosions do physical damage. It's relatively low. It's as much as kind of like running into a tree at a not so fast speed. The real damage is all of that physical damage gets converted to mental damage, and your mind's gonna be cracking. And with this, are we ready to pick the mode?
I am.
Jug, you ready? Yep. Gold, you ready?
Yes, I am.
Alright, then everyone, prepare for the final match of round 1. We've got Exploding Dijin versus Juggernaut. Let's see who could win, and may the best hero win. So, Gold, if you're ready to get the match going, I want you to roll 1 through 36, and I'm 1 through 18.
I got 26.
26, I got 17. Jesus Christ. Okay, Gold, what'd you get again?
26.
26. Alright, this looks possibly like an open and shut case. Who knows?
Oh no.
All of these matches could be very one-sided, even, or have some unexpected surprises. And so because of this, it's completely random. I can't give anything like that. So, let's hear this first match. You guys, Exploding Dijin and Juggernaut, will be facing off in a durability match. The way we assume durability is you have to stand still. You cannot evade these shots that are coming at you. You have to stay there and you cannot move. The only thing you can do is use your power to somehow block it, move it around, break it before it gets to you. All of this. This is durability.
Okay.
Difficulty rank, A.
Oh no.
This uses standard school grading, meaning A, B, C, D, F. Well, there's also an S. There's also an S, so. With C being about average, B above average, A really above average, and C might as well be a hero at that point. I mean, S, my bad. So, you guys have a durability match of rank A. Gold, I'd want you to roll a 1 through 45.
1 through 45.
Yep.
Darn.
I got a 12.
12. If your terrain can help you, you are in a swamp. The swamp we kind of use as a basis, like a Minecraft swamp.
Yeah.
Alright, and so with this, we assume you are standing still, you are surrounded on basically every angle, and there are people going to be shooting guns at you. Since this is an A round, these are like armor-piercing rounds. These are like some heavy-duty bullets. It's not that dollar store bullet you're being hit with. You're being hit with heavy.
Where do
Well,
you find bullets from dollar store?
I want to know where are you from? Oh.
Oh yeah, I get the superhero discount. Alright, and with this, let's start off with Exploding Dijin. Juggernaut, while he's explaining his stuff, can I have you type out your stuff? So, Dijin, explain how you would do good in this match.
I mean, so my spirit power, I imagine I have a strong will, strong spirit, so I imagine I will toughen my exterior with mental fortitude. Strong mind.
Sadly, it does not work that way.
I had a feeling.
Sa-
And I will use my explosives to try to stop any oncoming bullets by having it zip around the battlefield. Zip around in front of me like a shield. I don't know how big the explosion is, but I would use it as a shield, like how Gara uses his sand.
All right, I can understand that. Keep in mind, whenever you shoot your explosion, it's not a continuous explosion going around. Think of basically just like a little energy beam, like if Harry Potter shot a spell, that's traveling around until it lands, then it explodes.
Ah.
However, you can only shoot one of these at a time. So boom, 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 boom. You can't shoot more than one at a time.
Could I still hit the bullets?
Yes.
Cool. That's what I will do.
All right. This is actually I'll let Gold talk. Gold, what do you think about this?
I don't really know what to think.
What do you mean?
Because like it's a tiny beam. Like, how wide is the beam?
The beam, not very wide. The explosion, fairly large.
Because I say, like, unless if he has, like, some, like, very clear object in front of him, it'll still help, but not as much as it was before if it just exploded.
Well, what do you mean? The explosion still happens.
But it has to hit something, right?
Yes. I assumed he was shooting at the floor.
Oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense.
And how fast are these beams?
Again, Harry Potter fast. Pew. Probably even faster. Think more of Iron Man's beams.
Okay, so I would definitely be able to stop these bullets if I was able to rapid fire. Pew 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 pew.
Just bam, bam, like ready,
Yeah.
go, bam, bam.
Bam, bam, bam.
I'd say very quickly enough, you'd be able to shoot one and then two right after. Which,
Yeah.
honestly, given the reaction time of a bullet, speaking very realistically, yeah, you probably wouldn't have enough time. But you guys are superheroes. I'm giving you guys a benefit of the doubt, saying you can shoot twice before that bullet gets there. Which works too, because your explosions don't carry physical damage, but like I said before, your force still carries through.
Yeah.
Meaning you can't. Yeah, meaning you can't break him, but you can make him hit the really screw up the tree right next to you.
And I can throw off the trajectory of the bullet still.
Mm-hmm. All right, Jug, you've been typing. Let's see what you got. All right, I'll read it for him. While I'm unable to move, I assume that I can still extend my limbs so I can shoot my main body into the air as far as possible and use my hands and arms to surround myself with the shield sections multi-layered, if possible, to slow down the projectiles as much as possible, and maybe try and told to angle to projects to ricochet like tank armor. Okay, that last sentence mixed me up a little bit, but I pretty much got the gist of it. So Jug, correct me if I'm wrong. Your plan is to shoot up into the air, and then retract everything, so like you're pretty much falling now, and you put all of your shield towards where the bullets are coming from. Correct?
Wait, if he's like Go-Go Gadget and we're in the swamp, is he waterproof?
Yeah, he's not a machine.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Throughout this tournament, I draw references to different heroes so people better understand.
All right.
Like, if I said this guy's Goku, you're gonna know, okay, think of everything Goku can do.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna let him type out a bit more. But, Gold, based on what I've said... Oh, wait, here. Yes, assuming I'm falling into a swamp, there will be water under me, and the increased surface area would allow me to float. That is true. Alright, so Gold, what do you think of that plan? To recap, he's gonna shoot himself up into the air, and then defense from where all the bullets are coming.
It's a pretty solid strategy. Just use shield, block bullet.
Not
Pretty
to,
plain and simple.
he also did say multi-layer because Juggernaut is actually able to extend multiple limbs at once. Meaning he can go feet, 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 hands. And
Feet.
any other...
Pretty solid strategy.
Yeah, both actually have a set. Whenever this first came up, I really thought Juggernaut had a shoe in, but I forgot Dijin had force behind him. Fingers do work, yes, but all of your fingers combined equal a hand. So, because
I thought I was going to lose this one, honestly. I was like, oh gosh.
yeah, because think about this, Jug. If you make all of your fingers extend and cover a little thing, each finger is really tiny, and so the shield, as a result, is very tiny and thinner compared to whatever limb you use to extend. The thicker the limb, the thicker your shield. So if you were 700 pounds, the shield would be very big.
Does that mean like the head shield is like god tier?
No, I'd say
But
if anything, the body would be. The torso.
Okay.
Also, putting your head out there like that would be, once the shield is penetrated, you're having it hit your most vulnerable part.
That is true.
Yeah, it is. It's a little last resort thing. By the way, Jug, I deleted that message because of age appropriate, but you know what? I still laughed at it, so that works. Okay, so both of you have a really good way of doing all of this. Do you guys have any way that you can mess with the opponent? So, Juggernaut, go ahead and explain your thing. Dijin, you go first while Jug will be explaining.
I can send an explosion into his face, and I can distract him with an explosive so he can't see what's going on. Also, it would shake him up mentally, and because it does mental damage as well, so he would feel like he would feel unable to battle because he'd feel like he's in a tired and damaged state.
All right, but exploding, keep this in mind. Your chances of messing with him are severely reduced because you barely have enough time to block both sides of you.
All right, that's true. I could fake him out like I'm about to. I could tell him I'm going to, and
Gold? Anything you got to say about that?
Exploding Dijin has a very, very good way with messing with people, especially with how he messes with them mentally, and not much physically.
Mm-hmm. There is something that I was waiting for you to say. The fact that your power is like the Hulk. You don't have to actively do it. You can still only shoot one at a time. But by the time you defend yourself, the power itself can attack Juggernaut. I am assuming, since it is another person, that you get along with this person.
Yeah.
Because otherwise... Oh, sorry, go on.
I get along with a lot of people pretty easily, so I don't imagine, like, I'd have a hard time working with this thing.
Well, who knows what it is or how it acts or any of that stuff.
So,
but we do assume that you can get along with it. Jug, what you got? Same dealio as last match for me, except I would splash waves to block his vision and take away his control of his explosions. Maybe the explosions would even target the close waves and backfire as he has little control. Okay, so pretty much Juggernaut is saying that whenever he shoots up into the air, the waves are going to really throw you off and be like, whoa. It's alright, Jug.
I mean, but it's not me who's controlling it, so...
No. However, even if this still does apply, if you're on a train and your shaking is all hell, your power can't shoot accurately, even if it is your other person shooting.
Okay. That is true.
And to be fair, this is a swamp. I am assuming up to the knee length in water.
Also, I mean, I've never really been intimidated by waves.
No,
So,
intimidation isn't a thing. It's more of trying to stand your ground when that much water is splashing against you.
so how much water is that? Like, I'd have to know. Like,
I did say up to your knees.
okay, I mean, I've duck hunted before. Like, it's
Bracing water that much isn't enough to
have
knock
to.
you over. Gold. Do you think? Oh, sorry. Go on. Gold.
What?
You were gonna say something, Gold.
Juggernaut wasn't really doing it much to knock
Yeah.
him over, but like yes, knock him over would be like a good thing, but he was mainly doing it to block his vision. Water to the knees height, I think, would do a very good job at blocking vision, but not knock him over.
And I'm not trying to see the bullets because I know I'm not going to be able to see them. I'm just causing explosions.
That is a good
to-
point. He doesn't really need to see the bullets. He just needs to kind of shoot in the area. What I was thinking, what it was for, and the more practical version, I thought Juggernaut was splashing because this will wobble him for sure. I see Juggernaut typing, so I'll go ahead and let him type. Okay, I'll talk while he's typing. So, the splash is enough to throw. Okay, more to try and attract the attention of the Hulk. Explosion with close, rapid movements. That is a good idea. It is a good idea, distracting. Not to mention, Dijin, it won't throw you over. It will mess with your aim slightly.
But also, if he's distracting it, like it moves pretty fast. So if he attracts the attention, it could just be I hit him and then it hits the explosive and then it explodes the ground in front of me. So it could end up backfiring on him because it's still gonna try to go after the bullets, but it could also just fire a quick shot at him, or it may just throw me off and the bullets hit me.
All right.
Like it could throw me off, or backfire on him.
All right. The last part of this area. How can you block your opponent's tomfoolery? How can you block your opponent's interference? Exploding. You go first. Juggernaut, go ahead and start typing.
I mean, this is waves. I mean, it's not going to be too much of an issue. I do have a good strong base. I have done a lot of duck hunting. Not a lot, but I have done some. I have waded out into a lot of waters. I've never had trouble with that, with waves pushing me over.
By the way, I don't know if you saw this, but in the tournament, we do assume everyone is average at all aspects.
What's up?
We do assume that everyone is average at all aspects. It would suck if the black belt who from 50 different martial arts came in versus the guy.
Not a black. I'm an average person. I am this.
No,
is
I'm making an example. This is an example.
Yeah, I got this.
That's it's unfair if a black belt in 50 different martial arts came in versus the guy who saw a post and wanted to go ahead and participate. Two different things. So because of that, we average out all skills and all strengths. If you say, I try sneaking up behind him, the chances of him catching you are as equal.
Yeah, I got you. I was just saying, I'm not exceptional at balancing in water. I was giving an example as an average person. I do have experience with that, and I know the average person wouldn't struggle with that as much as you'd think.
Mm-hmm. I do know that it won't nudge you, it won't move you. I do think it will mess with your aim a little bit. Not too much, but I think it will.
But, I mean, I'm not personally aiming it. It's aiming on its own. So that's also another thing.
It's not an autopilot. The
Oh, okay.
It's not an autopilot. You're still shooting the first two shots. You wouldn't be able to
Yeah.
shoot the third, but the Hulk thing can.
So the third one can shoot towards him.
While you defend yourself.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that works.
Alright, so if that's all you got, Juggernaut, what are you typing?
Oh wait.
Oh, okay, Juggernaut, don't type yet. Don't type yet, Juggernaut.
It's all good. I mean, I would already be prepared for waves because the explosions would cause waves. So his waves, I'd already be prepared for that.
You know what?
That?
You got a good point. And after
If
realizing,
anything, never mind.
sorry, after realizing it, I believe knee height is. You think that's too much water, or that's a good amount of water? I think murky swamps are that big, right?
Oh, that's actually not that deep.
Yeah, knee
I was
height.
expecting like waves.
No, it's
Knee high is
knee.
good. Knee high is good.
All right, Gold. What were you gonna say?
Because of him using the explosions in water, he brought up a good point of his own explosions making water, and because of the force that the explosion makes, there is a good chance that his waves will combat the waves that Juggernaut is using.
Also, if it's only, I just thought about it. You said knee high. Those waves are definitely not good enough. Like if it was waist high, like I don't know. I kept picturing that. That would probably,
If that was waist high, you'd be flung.
from his shield
Mhm.
flash. I mean, I don't know how much force his shield is generating.
He extends
like-
them at a pretty huge speed. You don't want to get hit with it.
Okay.
Juggernaut, hold up. I want to let Juggernaut talk.
Oh, okay.
So Juggernaut, go
Okay.
ahead and type. Use smaller appendages to intercept the explosion. As it's a mental effect, I'm assuming it'll be akin to blowing my finger off. While it would have hurt a lot in a life or death scenario, most people can steal themselves to lose a limb, like in Saw when two dudes had to make that choice, and abuse the distracted power to allow shooters to move in more into Dijin, while his defenses are slightly down and more focused on offense. Okay, that was a lot, but I kind of got the. Oh, sorry, what?
I was gonna say that's putting a lot of trust in your mental aptitude and saying that you're actually strong enough to handle that much pain of losing a finger.
No, actually, that assumes a lot because your explosions would do a lot of damage if it hit him in the chest. Because if an explosion normally hits you in the chest, that's a lot of damage, therefore a lot of mental damage. Juggernaut is going to sacrifice a finger.
I mean, have you ever broken a finger though?
Have you ever gotten hit with an explosion in the chest? Granted, multiple things are on different scales. Clearly, getting in killing distance of an explosion versus losing a finger is way less damage, and therefore,
that is true.
And therefore way less pain.
But
However,
it is still painful.
Yeah, however, Juggernaut, there is the question that I'm going to ask you. All of your defenses are going to block the bullets, your hands included. So what do you think is the best option for you to do that, to intercept things? Because remember, you're still bound by the laws of joints and bones. You can't bend around your own defenses.
I just thought of that meme.
Which one?
There's only 4 limbs and you're using them. There is another.
Yeah, we don't count that one. If he loses that, then he's as good as dead. He lost. Gold, while he's typing out his thing, have any comment?
Not really.
You're more waiting on his response right now?
Yeah.
I have 4 limbs. I have 4 limbs, sacrificing 1/4 of my defense to expand the distance of an explosion from me, and my central core seems like a pretty solid trade-off. That is a good point. So pretty much like leg, arm for bullets, and then arm, go off and block the other shot. I can see that.
So his shields, they cover his whole body? Like, does each one cover his whole body?
No, more like it covers all of his frontal body.
Okay, so would, like, having that one arm pointed away from the bullets, would that cause an opening in the shields?
No, since he's kind of like a hemisphere. Yeah, like that. A little bit shorter, but yeah.
Okay.
And it won't, since he can extend. He can still take right degree angles. Okay, Gold. What do you have to say on that?
That's a really good way to mess with the other person. Sacrificing a little bit of defense, so he'll probably get hit. There's a more chance of them breaking through the shield, but you're messing with the opponent. Seems good. Like you said, it's a solid trade-off.
All right. So I have Gold. Think of some questions to ask them. I'm gonna ask each of them one question. So, Jug, I already did ask you. This question. But so you're going to extend straight up into the air, and then retract your legs. Once that happens, they're going to shoot. That's correct, right? My question to you is, how do you plan on blocking an explosion if most of your vision is covered up from blocking? You do have the ability to block it, but how do you see it? That's my question.
That's a good one.
I panicked for a second. I thought I wasn't recording. And I was about to be, well, gotta start over. Okay, while Jug is typing out that question, I also have to say to Dijin,
Yes.
you're shooting your explosions, but keep in mind, you're surrounded by water, and water does muffle explosions.
All right. Okay, so I would say it's only waist-high water. I'm at knee-high water, so it shouldn't muffle it too much. And I mean, it'll still be enough force to knock the bullets off trajectory, even if it's not gonna, like, it's not gonna break the bullets, but it'll knock them off trajectory.
All right, that sounds pretty reasonable. Let's see what Juggernaut said. While I'm in the air, it's a lot more difficult to hit me, so I can slightly reduce my shield size to get an air view of the scene without too much of a disadvantage. That is true. The higher up you are, the much smaller of a target you make, meaning the point that you have to protect becomes smaller in a way, because they can only hit you from like one angle at that point.
But if I hit something near him, if he's next to a tree, then...
No, he's in the air.
Well, I mean, I don't know how tall how high he's in the air.
Assume, like, I don't know how far to say it. I'd say like maybe kind of like 2-3 stories, maybe, give or take.
Oh.
And if they're using rifles, hitting a moving air target is difficult. All right.
I thought we were allowed to move out of the way of the bullets.
You're not allowed to dodge them. He's not dodging them.
Oh, okay. Because you said it'd be hard to hit him with the rifles. I don't know if it was dodging the rifle or...
Like if your power... Like, if your explanation is, I'm gonna avoid where all of the bullets hit and, like, run around since I have super speed, that
Yeah.
isn't allowed, because super speed, clearly you can outrun a bullet, but it's not, it's a durability test. You gotta stay in, like, the same cylinder area. Juggernaut is able to move and then be shot at. Given his power, those are the circumstances it gives him. Different powers give different circumstances.
I also could shoot an explosive under him to distract him. Like I don't know what the Hulk would do.
Sorry,
I can't determine what that shot would do.
I don't think you can distract him, just as the same as his waves can't distract your Hulk.
Yeah, it's true.
Because both know it's a competition, both know there's going to be stuff messing around. So I think distracting really isn't a thing here, because again, average intelligence for both of you. You both mess with each other the same way, you both decipher it the same way. Gold, you have any final questions before we deliberate?
Just one quick questions about the gun people. They're surrounded, right?
Yes, 360.
Meaning, the question I have isn't for one each, it's both of them at the same time. You guys, for what I can see, you have good 180-degree defenses.
Yeah,
how would you
destroyed it at
360?
I'd have to use my Hulk beam to. I wouldn't be able to mess with him. I'd have to fire behind me as well for my Hulk beam. He would have to guard my back. So I wouldn't be able to mess with him. So I would. The only way I'd have 360 is if I fired at my 10 o'clock, my 2 o'clock, and my 6 o'clock. That'd be my only hope.
Mm-hmm.
So I would fire personally. I would shoot my shots one as quick as possible. Muffle anything.
I'm reading Juggernaut. Submerge my lower half into the water because bullets lose a lot of velocity while the surface sections are shielded with enough gaps for air. Jug, I do want to interject on that one. The water is knee height. You're not exactly able to curl up into a ball. And at that point, even if somehow your whole body is still underwater, you're going to get hit because it's like, what, like half an inch of water? That's still pretty much point blank.
Also, that'd still go under the dodging part?
Jug, what I thought you were going to say was the fact that you're already taking care of that by lessening the angle. The whole point of you jumping up into the air was to reduce the angle you can get shot at. That's what you're saying with the whole, like, because you were so high up and like different angles, so you're able to reduce the thing so you can see. That's what I thought you were going with.
Because if he went high enough up, like they'd have a smaller target and they'd have to focus in on his shields.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's for more if when I land.
As like a last resort, if like everyone's still alive.
Yeah, I got you. That makes sense. But I mean, I don't feel like knee-high water is going to be enough to slow down the bullets.
I mean, I feel like it's good for a last resort. Like nothing else to do, unless if you go up in the air again.
Well, it's not like a continuous machine gun going da 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 da. It's fire, boom, fire, boom. Well, assuming you've said my shield section's about 120 degrees with 4 limbs, about 400 degree cover, losing 1 limb 360 degrees. Yeah, really, Juggernaut, the only section of your body that you need to cover is maybe the strikeout zone of a batter. That's about it. Because you're so high up, the angle at which you can be targeted changes and gets smaller. because while you're on the ground, you can be hit from any angle. While you're in the air, you're much harder to hit and most likely going to hit the bottom of your body. So you block the bottom, you're not hit. The whole water thing is a last resort, though. Okay, I understand what you're saying with that. Okay, now with that, any last things you guys want to throw out there before me and Gold talk it over?
I think that's all.
Juggernaut, any last thing you want to throw out there? Oh, well, I fell.
Oh, wait, there is. I mean, if we're getting shot more than once, I'd probably have
It's more
I'd be able
like 2 to
keep it
3
for
volleys.
longer, just because.
It's like 2 to 3 volleys. Maybe
Okay.
more like 1 to 2, if anything.
So I'd be able to recover faster than he would for the second volley, just because I'm just shooting rather than he is going all the way into the air and having to come back down.
Alright. And Jug said, I can just overlay the sections while in the air for extra padding. Alright. So you guys stay here. You guys can talk to each other and stuff, although normally it's whenever you both have mics.
Yeah.
You can still talk and stuff. We'll just be looking at what you're saying this whole time. Me and Gold are going to move into general. Stay here. We'll be right back after we choose the winner.
All right, sounds good.
Gold, let's move. Just checking the recording. Alright, I am still here. Alright, so, who do you think has the edge?
Like, you would think Juggernaut, because he has a defensive ability, but Exploding Dijin did pull a bunch of good points.
Yeah, his force is useful.
Just like other matches, you would think, like, oh yeah, it goes to the Juggernaut, because he had a defense power. But then afterwards, like, oh yeah, he makes a good point. This is hard to pick. Like, in the first half, I would say Juggernaut definitely has the win with, like, more than 360-degree angle. He's able to do so much for the blocking bullets, and with the multi-layer, that kind of counters the armor-piercing bullets a little bit. At least I would say that. It's just one small little detail
Which is?
that Juggernaut forgot to cover.
Which is?
How does he negate the fall damage? There's still gonna be so much, because he's like super high up in the air. Like, just jumping down from like 10 feet is like a big oomph to your body. But being like very high up in the air, that'll hurt your body a lot. As to it'll slow his recovery for the second and third volley even more.
Well, like I said, it's more like 1 to 2 volleys, but I did it. He's not going to get shot once in the air and shot on the ground. We're assuming the best that they can do, which means Juggernaut will be shot in the air and then land, and that's it.
Oh, okay.
When I was thinking of, like, yeah, Juggernaut, it looked like a landslide, and then Dijin came out using force. And he has a fair amount of force. The one thing that I'm having trouble thinking about, though, is how can Dijin throw off a bullet's aim, an A-tier bullet, with such speed, such velocity, that he's able to throw off its aim centered on him. Because, yeah, the explosion, of course, that worked. The fact that they're in a swamp, I think the water mitigates it so much to the fact where he can maybe nudge it a bit, but nudge it to a different part on his body.
See, like, if it was like a planes, I'd feel like he'd be able to redirect the direction of the bullet. Like, you know, just oof, explosion, boom, it goes the other way. But I feel like the water mitigates the force just enough to where he can't really dodge those kinds of bullets.
Because, yeah, explosions. They're big, they're strong. We're not assuming Bakugo level of explosions, though.
No.
And the water gets shot in. The explosion gets shot into the water, And normal bullets, I think it would throw off completely. Maybe even B tier.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Like B tier and below maybe, but A, I'm having a really hard time believing that.
Not to mention, like, it's not just the bullets. The person's aim, precision, and the gun itself are above that, like, really, really good.
Which is why I'm
'Cause-
like, which is why I'm thinking like Dijin may be able to throw off a few, but it's also the fact that he can't shoot multiple at once either. He can shoot one explosion there, another explosion there, but because they're not at the same time, and because you still have human reaction speed, even if he used his Hulk thing with like Gara's sand defense and all that, he can still only shoot one at a time. Because of that, one side is getting affected more than the other.
Yes.
And even if he is able to hit Juggernaut, if Juggernaut defends, he can defend with a small limb. But even if he chooses not to defend, there's still the whole thing of he's going to hit Juggernaut's shield too, which blocks damage,
Yes.
which means less mental damage. However,
And not
exploding Dijin, his explosion, does have a mind of its own. It can't just curve around him.
Mm-hmm.
Which is if he didn't have a way to block it, he would have gotten hit, and I would have said Juggernaut couldn't block it. But the fact that Juggernaut said 3/4 defense, the other fourth going to intercept the explosion, assuming average on both parts, the explosion will be intercepted.
Because exploding Dijin does have a solid strategy, and it would work in like any other situation besides S and A. But the fact that Juggernaut has room for error
And Dijin doesn't.
is what really counts. And that's what really counts the most. If you don't have room for error, then that's really gonna bite you in the back.
Which is like bad, and the fall damage isn't counted.
Yes.
It's bullet damage. And man, it really looked like it was going to Juggernaut looked like it was a landslide, and exploding really came in, but God.
Just Juggernaut.
Here is one thing though. Answer me this one question. These are armor-piercing shots. Now, granted, we don't know too much about bullets, but assuming normal Hollywood logic, kind of, when this bullet hits you, these things are designed to like pierce some heavy-duty armor.
Yes.
Juggernaut is laying in it, so Juggernaut's layering, so he is going to be taking a bunch of damage. Now, because he's covering less of an area since he's so high up, he'll only be shot in a smaller area, and his defenses will be thicker. However, that also means all the damage is concentrated.
Yes.
So, do you think this concentrated damage to Juggernaut's shields are more than exploding Dijin taking the shots?
I'd say that the armor-piercing shot does go through the shield, but I will also say that I think Juggernaut taking a bullet shot, that bullet shot's gonna hurt or do less damage than exploding Dijin's bullets.
Because exploding Dijin can throw it off, maybe slow it down a bit. It's still gonna hit him.
While Juggernaut can like almost put it to a stop. It goes through barely. The bullet probably won't even go through his body. It'll be like halfway. Or I'm probably underestimating it. It'll still go through, but not as easily as exploding Dijin's.
The fact that they're surrounded too, there are weak spots because he can definitely cover. Like if he does a 3-point defense, 1, 2, and 3. 1, Juggernaut won't be able to defend. Juggernaut gets extra defense. And in the 3-point defense, you know, like if you shoot your explosions in a triangle around you, there are still weak spots in the middle and between those points. Whereas Juggernaut just makes it all concentrated. The fact that he moved all of his angles to 1 was really useful.
Mm-hmm.
And I do understand where Exploding Dijin is coming from, where he's just like, well, I thought you said you couldn't move. Yeah, you're just not allowed to dodge the bullets. Juggernaut wasn't moving to dodge, he was moving to block.
Mm-hmm. Then I think we do have a clear winner.
Alright, you want to announce the winner?
I say you do it this time.
Me do it. Alright, let's head back in. Alright, are both of you here?
You're back.
Mm-hmm. That deliberation took a little bit longer than normal. Juggernaut, you here? Alright. So yeah, that deliberation took a little bit longer than normal. Normally we can kind of see the advantages and disadvantages, but many of your advantages counted the others. Many of your advantages counted out many of the others' advantages. Many of your disadvantages are the same disadvantages the other have, and so many different things. So it took us a while, but we finally came to a conclusion. So, the winner of this match is, we declared the winner of the match due to the fact of how well they are able to mitigate as much damage as possible from the incoming bullets. So we give this round, the final round, to Juggernaut.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It came down to the fact that Juggernaut has so much more room for error than you do, Exploding. It's the fact that the area that he has to cover is less, meaning his defenses are thicker. And even though these are like A-tier bullets that can get through his shield, his damage is going to be way less than yours. Because his damage is going to be way less than yours because the fact that these are A-tier bullets and the fact that that much water is present, and the fact of a 3-point defense. There are weak spots in the 3-point defense. Water slows it down, and these A-tier bullets can get through that. We said if this were a match on like a flat training ground, the explosion would throw him off easily. Yeah. And if these bullets were C and below, maybe even B and below, the bullets would have been thrown away. But it was the fact that the location played well to Juggernaut, the bullets played well to Juggernaut, and his power, even though some bullets might get through and hit him, it's way less damage compared to what Dijin would be taking from a direct shot.
That is true.
So, we give this match to Juggernaut. Now, Exploding, you do have an opportunity. You can challenge Juggernaut to a combat fight.
Yeah, I want to do that.
Just remember the risks. If you challenge him to a combat fight, this will come down to... if you challenge him to a combat fight, if you lose, he gets more points.
I mean, I think I have a good strategy for this.
All right, Juggernaut, get ready for
he did challenge an opponent because he was saying like it was a win-win. Either I win and I get points, or I lose and he gets more points.
Yeah.
Wasn't that no? That was a different hero though.
It was Seance, but he left.
Alright, Juggernaut, prepare. You may have won the match, but the whole thing isn't over yet. Exploding Dijin, Juggernaut, you're fighting in the same area, same location. The guards are gone, and it's up to you two. So, Juggernaut, go ahead and type about how you think the best strategy and attack patterns and all that stuff would work against Exploding. Dijin, go ahead and say what you got.
I'm going to go straight for the face with the first shot. I'm going to set an explosion right in his face. I don't
Keep
know
it
how fast his reaction speeds are, but I mean, my explosions are pretty fast.
a little
So
bit to keep in mind. It's not a play like I attack you, okay, so then I block. Then I attack back, and then I block. It's not that. It's more of
okay.
who would win the more overall fights.
Well, I mean, that would be my strategy for uh, whatever we do. Like, I would go for the face to blind him. Then I would, and I don't think he would have a good counter for that. So I could come in. I would be able to knock him off guard
Okay,
with
so
my.
just relentless explosions are your attacks.
Yeah.
All right, Jug, what are you typing?
Oh, also my Hulk could like I could.
You cut out a little bit. What'd you say?
The shields are more
Uh,
front.
exploding,
You
you
said
cut out.
ex-
Exploding, you cut out a
explosion.
little bit. What'd you say? You said my Hulk will what?
All right. My Hulk explosive can bend, right? Like it can move.
It's all explosions that you shoot.
Okay.
All explosions
So
you shoot, that thing controls.
okay, so it can turn, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it can like turn my explosives to go behind his shield, like go behind him. I can send a volley of like explosives, like one at a time, distract him to get his shields up, and then have one, and then it can curve it around and hit him from behind.
Alright, so just boom, attack, boom, attack, boom, attack, boom, attack. Relentless. Gold, you want anything to add to that before Juggernaut types in?
Just the fact that his opening move is probably one of his strongest moves because attack in the face is a good way to blind them, especially if they have like a way to block it, like all the smoke and like probably some debris or something. But let's say that he lands that hit. The amount of mental damage they're gonna take because your face has practically been blown off would be like way more than anything that you have felt before.
Mm-hmm. That does make sense. Not to mention with the bending, with the explosives projectile being able to bend, that increases the chances. Juggernaut, what you got?
Also, even if he stops it, like I have an explosive go behind him.
Hold up. Use one shield like a standard shield, and use my other arm as a spear, or go Beast Titan mode and throw projectiles that can intercept the explosion, and splint into smaller razor shard wood and rock, and abuse the moments he flinched to close the distance, so he may have to pull back to avoid friendly fire. That is true. So this comes down to a point of, can Exploding Dijin keep his distance, or can Juggernaut close it? Alright, so Juggernaut, that's actually a real
But you can turn it into other weapons besides shields?
No, it's just a shield. But but pretty much, remember, his hands extend, well, his limbs extend at a very fast speed. Meaning, if you don't want to get hit by it.
Yeah. But I mean, I feel like my explosions would be faster, and so whatever happens, he's not gonna see too much.
He says not literally a spear.
Okay, but he's not gonna see too much with my explosions going off in that area, and so the explosion I have going behind his back would still have a high chance of hitting.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so definitely the relentless explosions can hit a bunch. Juggernaut, with the using the shield to block, his shield is still a very decent shield, and the explosion will do very mitigated damage against it. But the curving factor is something that's really hard, Juggernaut. So what do you have against the fact that his explosion is a living thing that can move and turn? Because yes, you're both average intelligence. Whatever Dijin shoots at you, you can block. The fact that it's its own living thing makes it that much harder to block.
Also the living thing.
Juggernaut's typing. After I read off what he says, Golden, I'd like you to ask some questions and stuff.
Okay.
I've got 2 additional limbs, and balancing in water is simple enough. So moving an additional limb around like a trophy system wouldn't be too hard. Alright, so pretty much saying using both arms to go on the defensive and using foot for offensive. Or, the other way around, foot for defensive, one arm for offensive. The 2 defense, 1 offense combo.
But I mean, you're still not going to be able to see though, especially with all the going around.
Plus, I could plant 1 foot in the water and expand it to have a base like a lamp. That is true. Golden, what's your questions?
I haven't really gotten one for Juggernaut. I would have to think more on that. But for exploding Dijin, like Juggernaut did get a good point of balancing in water is simple enough, and the fact that he has a more fortified base because of the lamp. But exploding Dijin doesn't really have much to plant and have a good solid base. And as we can tell in a previous match against Cobra, he almost got flung just by getting hit by the punch.
Distance.
Gold, hold up, Gold. I'm sorry,
like
you cut out. Gold, I'm sorry, you cut out. You said he almost got flung by, and then you cut off.
By the punch of Juggernaut.
Oh, okay. Dijin.
Also, if he's planting his base, how would he close the distance towards me? Like, how would he get closer to me?
That is true. Mm-hmm. He won't be able to close the distance, but at the same time, there's 2 things that he has going for him. One is longer legs means better walking speed, and another thing is that he's able to do ranged attacks that are also melee attacks, which is a really good aspect that almost any warrior or fighter should have.
But here's hold up. This is also another. Hold up, Dijin. Replying each time something happens is definitely still a good thing to do. But be careful though. You might end up saying more, and you might end up hurting yourself.
Okay.
What I was going to say was, yeah, that definitely works out, but it's the fact of Juggernaut extends his limbs, meaning he's a bigger target.
That is true.
As he goes for an extend, he becomes a bigger target. As he goes to block, he becomes a bigger target each time he does. So that's the problem that I have right now. Normally to convince me, there's one problem that is always there with each player. If they can overcome that one problem, well then, it seems simple enough. And if they both do it, well then there's another one and another one. So Juggernaut, you do become a bigger target as you expand. And exploding does have a point. You can't really close the distance. In a fight of ranged, exploding has you beat. So the thing for you is there a way for you to easily close distance without taking massive damage? And exploding for you. Yes, you're able to move your explosions around and shoot all these different things. The fact that his shield can block these explosions is a big counter.
But that is if if it hits the shield. It's a living shot, so it can go around his shields. Especially if he's sending him towards me, it's not going to be hard to go around, and then he's not going to have it there to move it to where it needs to be. He's going to have huge open areas with his shields going away from him.
I'm waiting for him to type.
All right.
While he's typing Gold, do you have anything on that?
On what?
On what Dijin just said?
No, not really.
My arm that I'm not using as a shield can go forward, like Luffy's even, if I'm sitting in one spot, or worst case, take a blast to the leg, it happens and it'll hurt, but I don't think it'll instantly put me in a TKO.
But I mean, that is if it goes for the leg. I mean, but he has like 2 shields that are like not going towards defense, so that's
No, what he's saying is he's using his arm as a grappling hook.
Oh.
He's that's what the like Luffy is resembling. Extend, grab, pull. All right. Both of you guys have said your counters, said your attacks, said the counters for the counters. So, what's some last bit of information that you want to say before going? Juggernaut, if you have any information, type it out. Dijin, what's the last bit of information before we deliberate?
I mean, just that my attacks will be faster, so whatever happens, like the living explosion will still most likely be able to find its target before he can fully like go in for the attack. Unless he goes full defense at first, I will have that advantage of openings if he tries to attack first.
Okay,
Unless
Juggernaut, what you got?
And even so, he can't defend forever. If he curls up, then that gives me the advantage because he's a sitting duck at that point.
Well, his plan here is grappling hook to close distance.
I was saying, like, even if he changed that strategy to what I was saying, he would still be at a disadvantage. Cover my bases.
Man, this is an essay that's being typed out. I expect full annotations, nonetheless. Okay. I could catapult myself like a spring with my leg retracting as I pull up. So, shooting. And shield slam. Also, the other arm, while it's grappling, could also be used as a punch.
But I mean, like, explosives would be faster, and he'd be and a living thing, so it could go under the field still. That's been my huge part. Like, it can go past, like, around the shields.
All right. Gold, any last thing to say before we deliberate?
No, both contenders are both putting up an excellent fight, and it's going to be hard to choose a winner, in my opinion. It's going to be a really close match.
All right. Go ahead, stay in here again. We will deliberate once more.
Sounds good.
All right. What do you think?
I think Juggernaut in the early game would be able to, if he has the way to beat him, then he should take that chance then, and like right then and there in the early game.
Yeah, because if he plays early defense, Dijin wins the battle of attrition.
Yes.
Because Juggernaut can only defend so much.
And oh, no,
sorry, you go.
I was gonna say that the reason why I think, in my opinion, Dijin wins this is because I feel like he's able to survive a good way into like mid game, probably even late game, and as you said before, Juggernaut gets bigger and bigger with each time he uses his ability, making him a bigger target. Which one of the biggest ways to, like, in a reference, I'm going to use a giant. One of the biggest ways to counter a giant is just completely, like, making him, like, lose balance or, like, making him, like, dazed or something over and over. Which one of the biggest ways to do that is an explosion. Which exploding Dijin just happens to have.
Not to mention, Dijin's explosions still carry the force of an explosion.
So it does both mental damage and the force damage. Not much
Because
physical.
it's the Juggernaut almost had me call the victory in his name, because when he said shoot his leg like a spring and jump over to grab him, and then like shield slam and all that, I'm like, wow, that's a real good move to do. And then but then I remembered, wait a minute, exploding Dijin can hit him while he's in the air, and he doesn't need to hit a vital point. The force of the explosion still carries through. Since he's in the air and like not holding on to anything, he's gonna get launched backwards.
Not to mention the fact that these aren't physical explosions. These are mental, meaning it all goes up into one single point of his body, the mind.
Which makes it
normally. Oh.
Which makes it worse because his aim will get worse, his reaction time gets worse, everything gets worse.
Mm-hmm. And not to mention that, like, let's say that, like, I had a gun and I was, like, shooting your toe over and over. That wouldn't eventually kill you. I'm just destroying your toe. But let's say I had Dijin's ability and I was, like, exploding your toe over and over. It'll take a long time, but eventually that will kill you because it's all mental damage.
Mm-hmm. And his shields can only put up for so long. If Juggernaut does somehow manage to close the distance on Dijin, his moves create massive knockback.
Yes, and not to mention, getting up close and personal is good, but that also gives exploding Dijin a one-way ticket past his defenses. It'll be extremely hard to defend, meaning that he'll be able to get better hits off. Like, if anything, he can go for the head while, like, point blank. It'll hit him, but it does more damage to Juggernaut.
I think we're in favor of a winner.
I guess I'll explain it this time.
Sure, let's go in. Alright, we are back.
Oh, we're back.
I see you guys have been talking, that's real nice. So, Gold, take it away.
So, the winner that we chose is the reason why we chose this winner was because they at first they had a very good early game, probably very good mid game, but they really took the match in the late game. They had a lot more advantages in the late game as in the early game. Am I explaining this right?
They had their power throughout the match was greater, and their advantage grew even greater as the match drew on longer and longer.
Yes.
Go ahead.
The winner for this combat match goes to Exploding Dijin.
Yes! Oh, cool.
Pretty much, it came down to the fact that Juggernaut can't close the distance very well. He has the spring move, he has the grapple move, but at both of those times, even if he blocks with his shield, the exploding force from Exploding Dijin will still send him flying backwards. If he jumps and he gets hit with an explosion, even if it's blocked, the force of that explosion will send him backwards and he didn't gain any ground. If he grappling hooks, he's exposed. And the same thing still applies. He'll get launched backwards. And if Juggernaut does manage to close the distance somehow, Juggernaut creates massive knockback with his attacks. And shooting downwards would need too much time to set up. Meaning, once Juggernaut hits him, Exploding Dijin has distance once again.
Nice.
And so it came down to the fact of all of that, really. Alright, so because of this, Juggernaut, you have gained 0 points this match. Exploding Dijin, you have gained 1 point this match.
Woo!
Now,
point.
Be careful, because now that the first round's over, I can introduce... Actually, wait, no, this is because it's the first combat round. Because the first combat round is now over, this is brought in. Be careful about getting all your points from combats and stuff.
Yeah.
because Juggernaut had to be challenged to combat, Juggernaut gains 1 tally.
All right.
Let's say Juggernaut ties with somebody. If he has more tallies than the other, he wins the tie.
Okay.
And if it's a genuine tie, well then balls, you share the spot. I'm not putting anything more after that. You're sharing. But good job exploding Dijin. I really didn't expect for that much usage in the durability contest, and I didn't expect for it to be that close. And Juggernaut, same here. I didn't expect for like, clearly it looked like a landslide victory, but the way you use your powers and the way you spring about, there's still clearly a bunch of ways that you can improve on the power and new things. But good job, Golden. Anything to say?
Not from here. GG, man. That was really fun. I was really excited for this.
Yeah. All matches were extremely entertaining to hear out what everyone had to say. Everyone was doing really good. A bunch of close matches.
And this is just round 1. Everyone else still has to fight the other 3 remaining opponents. Juggernaut, you have 2 remaining opponents.
Okay.
I can't wait to see how this all turns out. All right. And by the way, something I will be doing now is after each match, I will be pinging all of the heroes, and I will be announcing the winner of each match. All right. Good job, all of you. Go on ahead. Me and Golden need to stay for the after talk.
All right. Peace out.
Have fun, you two. Good job.
Bye-bye.
Jug, I'm sorry, but even though you can't talk, you still have to leave. Oh, that's alright, Jug. Alright, hold up, let me... Ah, I dropped my phone! Ah! So, what'd you think of that match, though?
It was honestly very interesting. Because at first, like, the first match, I really thought it was going to be a landslide by Juggernaut did win, but you would think he would win easier.
Yeah, because when I saw him, like, and the test is durability. Ugh. They're not gonna win.
Normally it's like whenever we made superpowers, like all the time it's durability. Everyone failed that test. There was like one person who like barely made it. And so afterwards, like every single time I hear durability, I'm like, what one person's like gonna be instantly out. But he pulled through with an offensive ability that normally, for me, I wouldn't have thought of that.
The terrain definitely screwed him over, but he definitely won the combat.
Yes.
And
combat was a little bit less like, whoa, like, yeah, the exploding Dijin did have more of a combat ability, but Juggernaut still pulled a really, really good fight.
Juggernaut's not all offense, but he's very useful in many situations.
He's more of like utility. Utility can turn into both offense and defense when you need it.
And all of these things, and with this match going on, I was looking at it like, jeez! Because, although I will say one thing, exploding Dijin fought a little too hard for his character.
I will say that, like...
I could hear the sweat in his voice.
Like, yeah, he did talk a lot compared to the other people, but that just like further proves how much like feeling he has for this tournament, and like he wants to win.
Not to mention, we were no different either. During our first generation heroes, when we went through this tournament ourselves, we were very passionate about our heroes and didn't want them to lose.
Mm-hmm.
So I completely understand, but Exploding Dijin, if you're watching this, just a little bit less hint of sweat in the tone of your voice. A little bit less try hard, please.
Well, I mean, I would try hard if I were in the tournament.
Oh, I understand definitely try harding. I understand like doing all of that stuff. Just maybe just tone it down a little bit next time.
I say.
Oh, but sorry, go on.
I was gonna say two things. One, I'm very excited to see what they would do against an all-star match.
Yeah,
I really want to see that.
All-stars haven't gotten pulled yet. And this next round, they're gonna love.
And the second thing I was gonna say was, first round over, me seeing everyone but two of the contestants, but I do know their powers. I'd say so far, my favorite superhero, like their power.
Wait. Before you say that. No.
I'm not gonna say the power. I'm
No,
just gonna say the name.
Before you say the name. You can't say the name.
Why can't I say it?
Because I'm gonna end this part right here, so we can talk about what we're thinking going into the next.
Oh.
Any last words on this match?
Both contestants fought really hard, and it was a very close fight for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
A lot more intensity than you would expect.
Exploding, you put up such a good fight, and Juggernaut, your power is so useful in many situations.
Mm-hmm.
And with
I'd
that,
say it's probably one of the most useful.
yep. And with that, let's end it here.